So there's some tips that help you, and the first one is keep listening. And the older your kids get, the more you need to listen, the less you need to talk. And it feels in urgency just the other way around. It feels like the older they get, the more you want to talk because you want to make sure they get it. But remember we talked about they've got to take these things on for themselves. So if you're always talking for them, you're not giving them that chance to process and take it on for themselves and struggle through what they're going to believe about a specific situation. Thinking about their, helping them to organize their thoughts. Logic, remember they're learning that skill at 15, 16, 17. And so every time we give them advice, we're robbing them of thinking through alternatives themselves. Now that doesn't mean we don't ever do that in their late adolescence, but that's not our first game plan. Our first game plan is to listen and ask questions and help them to lead through it. Secondly, encourage responsible choices. I mean, you can, say things like, wow, you got a lot of money for your birthday. I'm wondering what you're going to do with it. You've been talking about wanting a new camera, and maybe a computer. You can do those kind of things to encourage them. Or, I like the way that you've been saving some of your money for this or that. So there's nothing wrong with that. Choices for school, even time, their money, their future, different options that they make. Give them encouragement for making responsible choices. Find those places that they're doing well in. Number 3, or C, is give another nudge. Sometimes you can see they're leading in that direction and they're kind of wanting to do it, but they're just not quite there yet. You can help give them that nudge and encouragement to say, I know you're a little, maybe concerned about this, but I know you can do it. Why don't you try and see? Why don't you go to the youth camp, and see how it is, or whatever the situation is. So giving them another nudge. Letter D is one that you probably could guess we'd have on the list. Don't bail them out. Now, we've talked about not bailing them out since they were in preschool, so this should not be an issue, but I can't tell you as a high school teacher how many times I had kids, this is before cell phones, can I call my parents, bring my permission slip for the senior trip, for my cap and gown money, all this stuff when they're graduating and they're still depending on their parents to run them stuff. So don't bail them out. Don't bail them out for grades. If they get a ticket on their car, they need money, because all you're doing is delaying them learning about reality. So I want my kids to learn reality at home when I can help them figure things out if they need it, then when they're off by themselves. This one's an interesting one. Let them teach you. What are they learning and discovering that maybe you don't really know anything about? I remember our second daughter was in GATE programs, and she thinks about a lot of things I've never thought about. But she also did a lot of neat activities that she really enjoyed. I remember in 4th grade she came home with all this stuff on left and right brain intelligence and color theory, and I was like, that was the first time I had ever even heard about that. And so there were a lot of things that she learned. Our daughter was going through beauty college. Some of them took, they took art and photography. So they're learning things in school that they can tell you about. Also, what do you need to learn before they move out? Now, this is going to date us, but you already know how old we are anyhow. I had some things on my list that I had to learn to do before they moved out. One was how to tape something on the VCR, because I always had them do it. So they were like, well, Mom, if we're going to be gone, you have to know how to do that. Another one, interestingly enough, is today, how to change the clock in your car for daylight savings time. I had to learn that. Now it says 24 hours, you push the button, but still. There were skills that I depended on them to do. Rick didn't have it on his list, but I did. And they were all technology related. So, staying available, listening ear, occasionally help, encouraging support, attend their events. If they get a job, I remember Kristen worked for the Parks and City Rec, and she could be at the park, at the pool, the waiting pool, and we'd go see her at her job and stuff. Some kids would be abhorred at that. For her, she liked it. She was happy. You know, so it depends on your kid's temperament. But still supporting them, going to things at school, things their friends are involved in. Don't give up that stuff just because they get it in high school. It's really important to high school kids that people are there at their event, whether it's the school drama, the musical, whatever the situation is, that